Today, we will be recapping the movie called Knock Knock, which has Keanu Reeves in it. Please turn the subtitles on if you have trouble understanding me. So, let's get started, and spoilers ahead. At the start of the movie, we see that Evan and his wife Karen are getting a little intimate early in the morning. But, they are soon disturbed by their two kids, who have brought a cake for Father's Day. They have even brought him a gift. Evan opens it to find a clock made by the two kids. Evan acts very excited in front of his children, and thanks both of them. Evan cuts the cake, but his children push the cake to his face and run away. Evan chases after them making a monster noise. They seem like a very happy family. The family sits to have lunch and celebrate Father's Day. Then, we see Lewis, the assistant of Karen. Karen is an artist, and she has lots of her artwork at her house. In a few days, her art was scheduled to be showcased at an art gallery. And Lewis was in charge of moving her art to the art gallery on time. After their lunch, the family plans a beach trip, but Evan doesn't join them. He has a lot of work left from his office, and he also has a shoulder injury which will keep him from having fun with his family. So, Karen and the kids leave without Evan. That night, Evan is working alone at his house. Evan is an architect, and has been working on a project for a few months. He receives a call from his wife, and she informs that they have reached the beach house. Karen says that she misses him on this trip, and then they hang up the phone. Evan works for a few hours, and then he hears the doorbell ring. He goes to check, and finds two attractive girls, and they're both soaked wet with the rain. The two girls introduce themselves as Belle and Genesis. They tell Evan that they were going to a party, but they had lost their way. And with the rain, their phones were also not working properly. Trying to be a good person, Evan welcomes them inside to shelter them from the heavy rain. Evan hands them towels to clean themselves, and also gives them his iPad to contact their friends. While Genesis is trying to contact their friends, Belle thanks Evan for letting them inside. She tells him that not everyone would have helped them. Then, Genesis tells Belle that the party address is pretty far from where they were. So, Evan proposes that he will call a cab for them. Evan books a cab, but it will take it 45 minutes to arrive at his house. 45 minutes is a long wait, so the girls ask Evan if they can use his dryer to dry their clothes. Evan prepares them coffee and takes their clothes to the dryer. After that, they all sit to have a conversation. Belle and Genesis ask Evan about his wife. Evan answers that his wife and children were out for a beach trip. Hearing that he was all alone by himself on Father's Day, they both get up and hug him. Evan thinks nothing of it, but when Genesis touches his arm, he feels uncomfortable, and goes to another chair. After that, the two girls all of a sudden start talking about their sex life. Evan gets confused to see how open they both were. They start asking Evan about his wife. Evan tells them that his wife is an artist, and proudly shows them the art catalog of his wife. Belle and Genesis get close to Evan, and say that his wife is a very lucky woman. Evan gets uncomfortable, and sits away from them. He checks his phone and the cab is 20 minutes away. Genesis asks Evan if he has been with any other woman after marriage. Evan answers no. And Belle tells Evan that when she gets married, she will let her husband sleep with other women. That way she believes her husband will never cheat on her. Evan is surprised to hear this and nervously laughs. All of a sudden, they both get close to him, and start seducing him. Evan again gets up to get away from them. He checks his phone and the cab is just 5 minutes away. Genesis asks if she can use the bathroom and Evan shows her the way. Evan gets up to play music, and Belle starts to dance seductively. She pulls Evan towards her, and starts dancing with him. Evan doesn't know what to do, and they almost kiss. But, the phone rings, and Evan informs her that the cab was here. Evan takes their clothes out of the dryer, and sees that the cab was waiting for them. He takes the clothes to them, and calls them from outside the bathroom. After not getting any response, Evan goes inside to find both of them without clothes. They both start seducing Evan, who keeps telling them that he is a married man, and cannot do this. But, the girls aren't listening to him, and start touching him. Evan tries to control himself, but he cannot stop what was happening to him, and gives in to his pleasure. After waiting for a long time, the cab driver also leaves from there. That night, Evan sleeps with both of them. Next morning, Evan gets up, and finds himself alone. The clothes from the bathroom are also gone, so he thinks that the girls were out of his house. But to his surprise, he finds them in the kitchen, making a total mess out of the place. Evan gets angry, and wants them to leave. But the girls just laugh, and don't listen to him. Just then, Evan receives a call from his wife. He goes outside to receive the call. He tries to speak, as if nothing weird is going on in the house, but the girls start making weird noises from inside. Evan starts to get distracted, and quickly ends the conversation. He loses his temper, and tells the girls to get out of his house right now. He pushes them to get their clothes and leave his house. Evan goes to check and finds Genesis in her clothes. But Belle isn't there. So, he goes to search for Belle, and finds her in his closet. Belle tries to seduce him again, and tells him that she wants him before she leaves. But this time, Evan is in his senses. He doesn't lose control, and tells them to get out in 3 minutes. After a while, Evan goes to check on them, but finds them totally destroying the artworks of his wife. Evan gets furious, and tells them that, if they don't leave his house, he will call the cops. Hearing his threat, Belle and Genesis start to laugh. They tell Evan that they are both underage girls, and if Evan calls the police, it will be him that will go to jail. Evan is shocked to hear this, and realizes that he has made a huge mistake. Everything that they said yesterday was a lie, they were just messing around with him. Evan tries to give them money to leave him alone, but they get angry at him, and tell him that they're not prostitutes. Just then someone calls Evan from his door. He goes to check and finds Karen's friend. She was there to ask if he needed help with anything, since he was alone by himself. Evan gets nervous to see her. He tries to get her out of there, but Genesis comes outside and starts acting like his girlfriend. Karen's friend is disgusted to look at Evan and leaves immediately. Evan has had enough. He goes inside and tries to force them to leave his house. But the girls keep on making fun of him. Evan finally says that he will call the police, no matter what. Fearing that he might call the police for real, they agree to leave. Evan takes them in his car and leaves them to their destination. Evan goes back to his house and starts cleaning the mess that Belle and Genesis had made. At night, he sits to work on his project, but he hears something drop. He sees that a photo frame had dropped. He bends down to pick it up, but Genesis hits him from behind and knocks him out. When Evan wakes up, he finds himself tied up to his bed. He tells Genesis to free him, but she isn't listening to him at all. Then, Belle comes inside and Evan sees her wearing the school uniform of his daughter. She even starts calling him daddy. Belle and Genesis both start taking Evan's clothes off. Evan tries to resist with all his strength. But, just then, he receives a call from his wife. Fearing that they will answer the call and show her wife everything, Evan agrees to do whatever they say. Belle starts having sex with Evan, while Genesis starts to record everything with her phone. When Genesis goes outside to grab something to eat, Evan uses all his strength to free himself and gets Belle off of him. He unties himself and goes outside to attack Genesis. But she manages to stab him with a fork. Evan cries out loud with pain and soon faints to sleep. When he wakes up, he again finds himself tied up to a chair with a cloth in his mouth. Belle and Genesis start to play a game with Evan. Whenever Evan doesn't answer their question, they play loud screeching sounds in his ears. Luz gets to his house to get Karen's artworks and ship it for the art gallery. Belle takes Evan to another room, and Genesis answers the door. Luz is confused to find them at Evan's house, but they tell him that they are nieces of Evan. Luz goes to check the artwork and finds them destroyed. Belle and Genesis tell him that it was maybe Evan who made the mess out of the artwork. Luz is furious and doesn't believe them one bit. He tells them that he will call the cops. Genesis tries to seduce him, but he isn't easily seduced like Evan. He shouts at the girls and hears a noise. He follows the sound and finds Evan tied up. He quickly tries to untie Evan, but he hears that the girls are destroying the art piece. Seeing the art piece get demolished by Belle and Genesis, Luz gets an asthma attack. He tries to use his inhaler, but the crazy girls take it away from him and start playing catch with it. Luz begs them to give him his inhaler, but they don't listen. While trying to take his inhaler, Luz slips and hits his head on the solid concrete. Luz is dead after this, but Belle and Genesis aren't worried at all. In fact, they start laughing maniacally. Evan asks them to call the ambulance, but they say it's too late. They start to cover Luz's body, and also exchange texts from the phone of Evan and Luz. They're trying to stage a fight between Evan and Luz, to make it seem like it was Evan who killed him. They put Luz's body in the van, and go back to Evan. Evan asks them the reason behind what they had done. They answer that they were checking if Evan would cheat on his wife or not. They were total psychopaths. They believe that since Evan cheated on his wife, he didn't deserve to stay alive. Hearing that they are going to kill him, Evan starts screaming at them. He tells them that it was them who came after him. But Belle and Genesis don't budge. They say that Evan will be executed at dawn. They both start digging a hole, possibly to bury Evan. While they are getting busy with the digging, Evan uses his legs to get to his iPad. He uses automated voice assistants to call Karen. The iPad calls Karen, but Belle and Genesis are back. Genesis finds the iPad and throws it outside. Belle and Genesis then start acting like monsters, just like how Evan used to with his children. Evan gets confused and asks them how they knew about it, but they keep on mocking him. Then, Evan knows that they were spying on him and his family for a long time. Belle and Genesis get changed and start destroying everything. They destroy all the artworks of Karen. They destroy Evan's house and even cut his hair. They're making a complete mockery out of Evan. While destroying the house, they find a gun that Evan had hidden in case of emergencies. After finding the gun, Genesis says that she wants to play hide and seek. They untie him and tell him that he has 30 seconds to hide. If Evan gets out of the house, they will shoot him. But if Evan manages to hide until morning, Belle and Genesis promise to leave him. After this, Evan goes somewhere in his house to hide. Belle and Genesis start looking for him. They look everywhere but fail to find him. Evan tries to escape from them, but Genesis catches him. Evan cries out for help, but Genesis tells him that no one was there to help him. The sun finally rises. They take the tied-up body of Evan to the hole they had dug last night. They put him inside the hole and start covering it. Soon, they have the entire hole covered with only Evan's head sticking out. Genesis grabs a stone, and it seems she will use it to kill Evan. But she doesn't smash it on Evan's head. Belle and Genesis both start laughing loudly. Evan, for the final time, begs them to leave him alone. Then, Belle and Genesis reveal the truth. They tell him that they were just having fun with him, and weren't planning to kill him at all. In fact, they were not even underage girls. They just wanted to seduce a married man, and then ruin his family. It was something that they really enjoyed. After telling Evan the truth, Belle shows Evan a video. It's the video that Genesis had taken, when Belle was wearing Evan's daughter's school uniform, and she was in bed with Evan. She even uploads the video on Evan's Facebook page, and writes a caption on it, "Happy Father's Day." Belle and Genesis were truly sick human beings. They leave the phone in front of Evan, and leave to look out for a new victim. Evan's family also return from their trip and find their house completely ruined. At the same time, Evan manages to take his hands out. He tries to delete the video from his Facebook account, but he accidentally ends up liking it. And the movie ends. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you ever find yourself in a situation like Evan, please try to control yourself, or you might get yourself in the same condition.